Like Lion 1, you're going to hear talk about elephant country for gold. Unlike Lion 1, Ethos is a junior explorer, so we don't have a bulk of data on the properties that we're exploring. However, we have in the last year discovered quite a bit of gold on the properties we have that seem to be significant. We're exploring for Klondike, for the source of the Klondike gold, if you will. There's some forward-looking statements in this. Ethos is a junior explorer focused on gold exploration in the Yukon. There's been an awful lot of gold produced there over the years. And over the last 3 years, Ethos has assembled a team of exceptional management skills. They have over $1 billion worth of M&A activity, directing multiple companies. We are well funded. We have $14 million currently in treasury, and really well structured with 42 million shares outstanding. And these points I'll come back to in a minute. Mineral assets, we have 1,100 square kilometers of ground in Yukon, which is an important aspect in terms of giving the company a sizable potential to find something. We started at the beginning of this year, or the beginning of 2011, with very little data, as I said. However, we are located next to the two discoveries in the Yukon that really kicked off the last year's $350 million worth of exploration there. The original one was made by Underworld 5 years ago. Kinross bought Underworld. And then Kaminak made a discovery in 2008, which is directly on our western border. And it has sizable potential. The word on the street estimates a multi-million ounce deposit. Coming up, from our exploration point of view, we have made a discovery it looks exactly like what Underworld originally found, and also exactly what Kaminak originally found. This year we're going to spend half of our treasury, about $7 million, effectively drilling that. So a little more detail of our management. We have Gary Freeman as our CEO. He's in the audience here. He ran Pediment, which was taken over by Argonaut as one of the examples of M&A activity. Another, Henrik Van Alphen, is the president of Cardero. Godfrey Walton is the president of Endeavour. All of these board members bring a great deal of expertise to our exploration and management team. Quickly, the capital structure, 42 million shares, as I said. We have $14 million in cash. There's some warrants coming priced at $1.35, which is just above our current price, which would bring a substantial amount more funds into the company, which will help with our budgets going forward. Ethos is exploring in the Yukon. Why would you go to the Yukon to explore? From the Alaska side of the equation, the Tintina Gold Belt in Alaska is not carpeted, but it's rich with multi-million ounce gold deposits. Pogo, Donlin Creek, Fort Knox are several of them. Up until 5 years ago, the Tintina Gold Belt was thought to hit the Yukon border and basically go as a tiny sliver over to the Tintina Fault and carry on down through Yukon. And so the gray area you see where it crosses Yukon, this slide, wasn't thought that way until 5 years ago, when a fellow by the name of Shawn Ryan, a prospector, found the Golden Saddle, what became the deposit for Underworld that was purchased by Kinross. The following year, once it was recognized that the Tintina Gold Belt in its own right was actually all of the Yukon, basically, from an exploration point of view, there was a huge influx of capital, which has been exploring there for the last couple of years. And last year, the exploration budget globally for everyone was $350 million. What's been discovered in the area that Ethos is currently working in, particularly, we're right next door to the Underworld discovery, and we're also right next door to Kaminak's coffee discoveries. We are also on the south edge of the Klondike placer gold fields, which everyone has heard about. And why would you go what's so significant about the Klondike placers? So there's been 100 years of placer activity there that's extracted 20 million ounces of gold from the creeks. This is a photograph of a display case in Dawson of 76 little placer finishing pans. Each one of the pans has gold collected from all the placer streams. It's hard to see in this slide, But visually, when you're standing in front of it, you look at all the gold grains within it, and every one of those 76 pans look different. The gold grains themselves have different morphologies. They're totally unique in their own right, and it infers that there are multiple sources of Klondike gold grains. And so far, the only ones that have really been identified is the white gold, the Golden Saddle deposit, and potentially Kinross's. Why is this significant? Well, Ethos has acquired from Shawn Ryan, the same fellow who discovered both the Underworld and Kaminak prospects. We optioned 1,100 square kilometers of ground. The intent was to sieve that ground, it's a huge land area, for multi-million ounce gold deposits like you would find in Alaska and what we think we can find in the Yukon. As a result of the program we ran last year, down in our Ethos's ground is red, Kaminak's is purple. The now Kinross ground is that golden color. We're directly along strike from everything that Kaminak has in exactly the same geology. And not surprisingly, this past summer, we found a soil anomaly that is equal in scope, 17.5 square kilometers in size, but it's exactly equal on any statistical measure to the original Underworld Golden Saddle anomaly and also the Kaminak Coffee soil anomaly. I don't have a slide of it, but we have it outside if you want to come and look. We also found over to the left on our Red Wolf property another target in soils that also has that same size potential. What we're looking for is not something small. We're looking for multi-million ounce targets in soil anomalies. In detail, this is the soil anomaly that we found. If you compare it in size and scope, we found something that is equal to multi-million ounce targets elsewhere. What we did was we prospected the soil anomalies. The soil anomalies themselves ran over 7 grams in soils. It's a huge area though. And we found grab samples in rocks between 1 and 5 grams typically, and up to, in the bottom right corner, grab samples that ran 25 grams per ton in rocks. We then went and trenched it. And we dug 22 trenches, the results of which some of them are summarized on the right-hand side. Every single one of those 22 trenches had gold grade over width in it. The best was 7.3 grams over 50 meters, which is, for the Klondike, the best trench ever, period. That's it. We think this particular soil anomaly has a huge amount of potential. Coming up, the $7 million exploration program is going to be drilling, proposed 95 to 100 drill holes. The first 40, though, are going to go underneath trenches where we have gold intervals in the trench. So we're targeting a 20 square kilometer area. The drill holes are going to be scattered all over to give us the best possible chance of discovery. And the intent is to prove to investors that we have gold grade over width, just like the Underworld and just like the Kaminak discoveries. In potential, so the bottom right, that area, the high pinks and purples, is golden soils. It's overlaying on top of this heat map, if you will, of other areas that have potential. And if in the pink area, if you liken it to the Kaminak geology, it's exactly like the Kona and Americano zones, and those other areas of yellow, which are equivalent in size. There's another 60 square kilometers of anomaly there to explore this year. We believe will develop into something that we can target in the future. As an interesting aside, the region itself, the specific area we're in, we're directly next to coffee and the Kaminak's coffee. We're also right alongside the Casino project. That is an 8 million ounce, 4 billion pound copper gold porphyry. And along a structure that includes the Northern Free Gold project and a bunch of others, where on our map and in our immediate area, we have tens of millions of ounces identified in gold and bedrock. And we believe we're going to add to that this coming summer. And so just as a phase of a timeline, we're going to begin to drill in May. So we're 2.5 months away from the start of the exploration program. We will test directly beneath all the gold in the trenches, and we're at that discovery stage, drill stage, that Underworld and Kaminak were 2 and 3 years ago. Thank you.